Hello, everybody, and welcome back to your Energy Booster Academy. This is once again your friend Jeanith Padilla, and today we have a very special guest to talk about the human paradox. You know what? When he told me that this is what he's gonna talk about, I was so curious, and I had no idea, honestly, about what this is. So I had to go to check with Google University and see it for myself. But when I found out about it, I realized it's really very interesting. And I hope that we all gonna be learning from Mark today about what this is all about. But before that, let me just check if we are really live right now, because there was one time that I was just talking and it wasn't really live. Okay. And then let's see if the speaker is working. She Tech check is very important. So bear with me. Let's see if the speaker is okay. Working. You hear that? Yeah. So we are going and we are truly live right now. But yeah, before I get Mark to show up here, let me just have an honor to introduce him to you guys. So born and raised in Chicago, and he's now based in California. Educated in accounting, computer science, and finance at the University of Illinois, Champaign/Urbana. He worked 5 years in a large cutting edge computer center during college at the beginning of the modern computer age. Self taught in 9 computer languages. Imagine that. I told him before we get into this, like, yeah, he's a genius. He actually worked for Fortune 1000 companies developing and deploying accounting software in the 70s. I wasn't born yet, right? And the 80s using early AI. And yeah, AI is not new. Where am I? So way before QuickBooks existed, imagine. So for all over 20 years, he was self-employed in business software development and implementations for corporate clients. And when programming and software development moved offshore in 1999, he went to work for a friend, and he thought, it was only, it was only to last for a few months, and yet he lasted there for like 11 years. Wow. In the dawn of cloud computing age, before it was called that, imagine, like, I didn't know about all these things before. I thought, cloud is just new, right? So he sold Oracle Cloud Computing to Fortune 1000 clients like Twitter, Yelp, Shutterfly, Square, Balfour, Betty in London, way before AWS cloud computing was a popular commercial product. Wow. His friend's company was sold in 2019, and currently he is doing strategic business consulting for clients in growth slash exit strategy and M&A. Are you ready for this, ladies and gentlemen? What an honor to have Mark, or Mr. Marc Schissler, at your Energy Booster Academy. Hi, Mark.
Hello, Jeanith. How are you? Thank you for such a great introduction.
Of course. Let me close the door. I forgot to close the door. Yes. Hello, Mark. How are you?
Good. Hello from Los Angeles. The sun finally came out.
Oh, wow. Was it cloudy previously?
We have had a very long, cold, wet winter, and we're just
Oh,
now getting into spring. So I'm thankful for that. very happy.
Of course. I love
Yeah.
spring.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
before we get started, maybe we can I can talk a little bit about how we know each other and some very good things we have in common. We met
Yes.
on Instagram, and a lot of you know that Jeanith is um, a dialysis ICU pediatric nurse in Nashville. And one of the things that we had in common was I was in the hospital in 1997. And when I got out of the hospital, I said to myself, I want to go back and volunteer. So I went back and volunteered in the unit where people took care of me. So I got to volunteer with the nurses that actually took care of me. So I volunteered as a unit secretary in ICU in a major trauma center here in LA. And I was there for like 10 or 11 years. So I had over 2,500 hours of volunteer work. And I
Wow.
worked at night from 7 to 10 at night. So I know exactly a lot of the nurses that I worked with are some of them are still there, some of them are retired. But I got to see firsthand the kind of things that Jeanith does, and I got to see a lot of things in the trauma center that most normal humans would never get to see. So I have a unique appreciation for what she does, how she does it, and the kind of work it takes to put on what she does. So
Thank you.
she deserves a round of applause.
Oh, thank you. Wow. So you volunteered. What
Yes.
happened? What happened prior to that? You said
Uh,
you took care of, I mean, they took care of you and then you volunteered?
yeah, I had a problem with my heart. I was in the hospital for like 4 or 5 days. They diagnosed it, gave me some medicine, and now I'm fine. So yeah, I said this would be really cool. I got to be really friendly with my nurse, and
Oh,
her husband was a nurse as well, Joellen in Sherwood. And so I said, well, I'm going to go back and volunteer. And sure enough, there was a program. And I went back and went through all the training and did all the code, code blue, code red, code,
oh,
all this stuff. So I had to go through all the training. And then I went back and worked with them. And it was a
oh,
blast. We had so much fun.
oh,
Way too much
wow.
food, way too much food. You know how ICU is. There's
Yes.
always tons of food and tons of drink and laughing and probably behind the scenes, but people that don't know, ICU nurses are very tight and they're very together. And so it was a very good experience.
Wow. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's so amazing of you to volunteer. Like, yeah, you're not paid and yet you're there to work.
Yeah, it was interesting. I worked at night, and after I would get done with work, I would change into my little uniform and I would go to the hospital. So
Yes. Yeah. So tell me more about your story. Where this human paradox
okay,
idea.
so let's get to the human paradox. The human paradox is something I've experienced over the last few years, and recently, it really kind of hit home to me. And so when you asked me to come on and talk about something we really didn't know what we were going to talk about, I was like, oh, I'm going to talk about the human paradox. So here we go. Human paradox. This goes back millions of years, to be honest
Mm,
with you, way during our ancestral period. And basically, back then, it was self preservation. In other words, you had to protect yourself. You
mm.
had wild animals trying to eat you. You had different tribes trying to kill you. You had to protect yourself. You had to make your own clothes. You had to make fire. You had to hunt and eat, and you had to do all that stuff. So it was self preservation versus doing good and helping others, right? So
Yeah.
the paradox is you either did one or you did the other, or you tried to combine them both, right? So we all operate under like ingrained programming from years and years and years ago. And it translates to today in very interesting ways. And I'm going to give you a perfect example, something that happened the last couple of weeks.
Okay.
So I went to get my corporate mail. I walked over to my little private mailbox area, got my mail, came out of there, was walking past the laundromat, saw this homeless lady sitting on a bench. She had two dogs and a stroller. Stroller weren't for the babies. Stroller were for dogs, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she had kind of been living outside this laundromat. I'd seen her there before. I walked by, and I basically, the dogs were barking. I walked by, went into the grocery store, and I was like, you know, that's that's kind of that's kind of interesting. I wonder what is going on there. So it was like self-preservation. Mark, keep your blinders up, go do your thing. Don't get involved. Just do what you were going to do. And for some reason that day I was like, yeah, I used to have 3 dogs, and I want to go check and see how she's doing, how the dogs are doing. So I walked back over,
Uh-huh.
and the dogs were just going crazy because they are like very protective of her. And so I said, "Hi, how are you? My name is Mark." And she said, "My name is Julie." And I said, "Well, how's things going? How's your dogs? They look really cute. They're real tiny, small little dogs." And she goes, "Oh, they really don't. They don't like people at all because
Oh, wow.
we're constantly being hassled, and people are bothering us and telling us to move and blah blah blah." So I said, "Can I sit down here for a second?" She said, "Sure, sit down." So I sat down. The dogs are still going crazy. We started talking. She told me her story, and I
Uh-huh.
said, "So, do you need anything for the dogs? I mean, do you have food for them?" She said, "Well, I could use some food for the dogs." I said, "And what about you? What do you need?" "Well, I could use some baby wipes, and I really need some laundry detergent because I got a bunch of laundry to do. I don't have any detergent, and
Oh.
some dryer sheets and some stuff like that." I said, "Okay, hold on." I said, "I'll be right back." Walked back in the store, got a bunch of stuff that she needed, came back, gave her all that stuff, gave her some cash, and I said, "Okay, here you go. Time to do laundry. You don't have to sit around here. Just let's go. You'll go do your laundry." She
Yeah.
was like, and then the dogs were like totally quiet. And she goes, "Well, this is really weird." She goes, "The dogs never shut up when people are around me." She goes, "But they're not doing anything. I wonder what's going on." I said,
Uh-huh.
"Well, maybe they don't feel threatened. They don't
Mm-hmm.
feel threatened right now." And she goes, "Well, yeah." She goes, "Well, thank you for, asking what I needed." She goes, "Not very many people would do that." Around that same time, her friend pulls up in a car,
Mm.
and her friend's name is Nancy, and she lives in her car with her
Oh.
90-year-old mother, right?
Oh.
So she introduces me to Nancy, and I go, "Wow, your mom, how does she get along living in a car?" And she goes, "Well, she doesn't really mind it. It's kind of all we've known for the last few years." And I said, I also know of another lady, Carol, who lived in her car with her sister who was handicapped. And she
Mm.
looked at me and she goes, "You know Carol?"
Oh.
And I said, "Yes, absolutely. I know Carol." I said, "I've bought her lunch many times at McDonald's." "Oh," she goes, "you're good people." So
Oh.
Julie goes, "You know Carol as well?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I know Carol." And she goes, "Wow, this is really great." She goes, "I don't know." She goes, "I feel like I hit the jackpot. I got laundry detergent, I got dryer sheets, I got baby wipes, I got food for my dogs." She goes, "There isn't, what more could I ask for?" And I sort of stood there and I was like, "What more could you ask for? How about a roof over your head? How about a place to sleep? How about, I complain when, my TV show isn't on at the right time. And here's somebody who paradoxically thought this was the greatest thing since sliced bread."
Oh.
So there's the paradox. You either keep your blinders on and go forward and go through your day, or you get involved. Innocently, you can get involved, right? So the message to your audience would be, one day you're going to find yourself in a position where you could get involved. Why not get involved? We're no longer living in an era where you will be killed and eaten if you get involved. Now,
True.
obviously, you don't want to put yourself in danger. There's people that I wouldn't get involved with.
Mm-hmm.
But this was a totally innocent situation. I had dogs. She had dogs. I heard her story, tragic story. Her friend Nancy has a tragic story. They all have tragic stories. But the littlest thing you could do means like the mountain to them. And so that's the paradox. The paradox is, do you keep to yourself or do you get involved? That's the first paradox, right? So
Wow.
that's the first lesson. And that's what I learned. Just get involved. Buying somebody a hamburger for $2.99 is not that big of a deal, right? Especially when they're not dangerous. If they're in McDonald's or in the store or wherever. And I've seen her before, but I knew she wasn't dangerous. So that's my thing about the human paradox. Self-preservation, self-care versus doing good, right? Versus doing
Yeah.
good. It's easy
It's
to
like
do good.
good and evil. Like,
Good and evil, good and bad, safe and risky. Could something bad have happened? Of course, something bad could have happened, but I kind of knew it was a calculated risk and the odds were in my favor. So, yeah.
I
Now,
think, yeah, go
here.
ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Yes, because I have something in my mind. This happened last week too. I think this is a very simple example of a human paradox. I was walking on the hallway and I saw dirt, and it's like a wig, bunch of hair, and went to get it to throw it to the trash can, and I didn't know somebody was looking, and he said, "Oh, you're the only one." He said, because yeah, every day we have an option to make a difference or not, to pick up the trash or just look at it and disregard it. So I
Right.
think yeah, this is the simplest example of what you're
That
saying, isn't it?
that's one of the elements of the human paradox. There's also another element. This
Mm-hmm.
element of the human paradox will be more apparent maybe to your audience who's probably gone through this. I went through it maybe last week.
Wow. Okay.
So basically, what happens is you have two friends. I have two friends. They're both on Instagram. One of them is a manufacturer of high end women's handbags in
Mm.
Milan.
Wow.
I have another friend who's a model in
Mm.
Ireland, very high end model.
Wow.
Talk to them all the time. Don't really think about it. One of them is like, yeah, I could use more business. The other one is like, yeah, I would need more modeling. And so I was like, well, here's the human paradox again. What could I do? I could just keep talking to them and let it go in one ear and go out the other and not get involved. But I decided to do something different. I said, you know, Anna, I know a model that your bags, she would love to model your bags. And
Oh.
model, I know someone who manufactures handbags in Milan. They would be perfect for you to rep. You could be an influencer for her bags. I kind of put the two of them together, and what happened but the human paradox? It went absolutely nowhere. Anna, Anna said she doesn't have the right look for my bags. Very kind of snooty kind of an attitude. And the model was like, well, I'm more into cosmetics and beauty, and the handbags really, they're nice, but it's just not something I'd want to do. So seemingly you're being the good Samaritan, not the
Mhm.
good Samaritan, but the good person. You're going to put two people together that you think would fit, and theoretically they fit perfectly. But when they left to their own devices and egos and whatever gets in the way, they're like, they just separate. They don't even see a value together. You see the value, but they don't see the value. That's the other side of the paradox where you're doing something good and nothing happens at all. And you look, and then you're thinking to yourself, how can this possibly be? This was like a match made in heaven in my eyes. And
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
for them, it's like, man, yeah, I want the extra business, but I don't want it that bad, something like that.
Wow.
So I think all of us can relate to something like that. You try and put two friends together, you think you're going to get along, and it winds up being a huge cat fight, or nothing happens at all, and you don't understand it. And it's a paradox. How do you
It,
reconcile that in your mind? right?
I think a very good example for that. I tend to match two friends,
Yeah.
and it totally went bad because a friend was thinking that I have bad intentions with the match, and I totally didn't have that intention. I thought they were, like what you said earlier, like a match made in heaven, and then they seem to like um put it in a different way. So you and
Yeah.
paradox, I just realized that.
And the worst thing you can do is say, gosh, I'm never going to do that again.
True.
I'm
Yes.
never going to do that again. And that's the exact wrong attitude to take, because you never know when something like that is going to hit and it's going to be a huge success, right? You just
That's
never know.
right.
So you just got to take the risk. So maybe this little talk we've had is more about risk taking and paradoxical situations and how they can or can't work, right? The first one worked out great that we talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Second one didn't work out, even though it was more perfect than the first one. So
True.
there you go. Yep.
Yeah. So some more. This
Some
is
more.
so
All right.
good.
So now we're going to get into the next part of this, and maybe the final part, which is um, it's called the special spiral. It's got a name,
Oh.
the special spiral, right? And this is all about delayed gratification,
Hmm.
putting off something that helps ourselves or would do good for ourselves, but we put it off. An example, someone gives you a special bottle of wine. Maybe now they would give you like a 1996 bottle of wine. It's 25 years old, the
Wow.
perfect time to drink that bottle. And what do? Oh my gosh, this is so special. This is so special. I can't touch this. You put it in the closet and 5 years go by, and finally there's an anniversary or a birthday or something that you really want to use it for, and you go, you know what? Now's the time. I've put it off for 5 years. Now's the time. You get the bottle of wine, you open it up, and it's vinegar. When you should have used it, you didn't. It was so special, you keep putting it off. It's like the candle you never get to smell. The pair of shoes that you have in your closet, they're brand new, that the soles are perfect leather and you won't walk on them because they're so special, right?
Oh.
The t-shirt that you won't wear because it's, oh gosh, I remember we went to Myrtle Beach and I don't even want to wear it because I don't want it to wear out. I want that shirt just like it was. It's special spiral. We delay gratification of things we already have. It's already within our realm. Like you have a gift certificate for a salon day and you just put it off and put it off and put it off. And before you know it, you say, you know what? I'm going to use it, and the spa's out of business, right?
Or the coupon is expired.
The coupon is expired. Or in my case, my my sister gave me a sampler kit at Sephora for men's cologne, little tiny things. And I used them, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go to Sephora. I'm going to go to the nearest Sephora is at Disneyland before. And I'm like, I'm not going to Disneyland just to get a bottle of cologne. I'm just not going to do it. Finally, they opened up Sephora at Kohl's. I take my little thing over there. Oh gosh, we don't even know what this is. We don't do that
Oh,
anymore.
wow.
So it's like the delay spiral, the special spiral, and it keeps spiraling down and down and down. You keep waiting and waiting and waiting. You delay the gratification for something you've already got when you shouldn't. And you should just go ahead and not indulge, but use the things that you're supposed to use when you're supposed to use them. Don't delay. I mean, the terrible example of this is, you get hit by a bus, right?
Hmm.
Or something really bad happens to a person you really wanted to have that bottle of wine with. Lots of bad things can happen. So that's another thing where you tend to make something more and more special when you really shouldn't. You should just go ahead and enjoy it. because if you delay the gratification, you're just putting off something that you should enjoy, right? And as a nurse, you probably know that more than most people, because your job is to take care of people and don't put yourself first. Everyone else comes first. Patients come first, your kids come first. Everything's coming first. So the delayed gratification can work against you in a lot of cases. So it's called the special spiral. It keeps spiraling out of control. You keep putting it off, and when you really shouldn't. So
Yeah, well, this is huge though. I mean, this spiral thing, like, so like in, in my case, maybe like, if yeah, I will just I will not take care of my health, of my, physical being, spiritual being, because of the demands of my work and my home life, then
yeah,
eventually my body will I will just be drained with my energy. And so what this means is, although I am putting other people first, I also have to pour on myself. Like, I think I'm doing that. I'm good at that.
yeah,
But yeah,
that,
there are other aspects, like, your talent. Like, we're waiting for a perfect moment. We want to be perfect before we want to put it out there. And then we'll never, when the truth is, we'll never know, like, life is not guaranteed. We'll never know when we're gonna expire, right? So,
that's right.
and then, yeah, I mean, I don't think we need to delay. I mean, there's a lot, like, when you say, like, the delay of gratification, there's a good and bad on it. Like, material things, like, you don't have the money for it and you want to buy it now and you want to use your credit card. Yeah, that's a different
That's a
thing,
whole
right?
different that's a whole different story. Yeah.
Yeah, so, but then,
Um,
yeah, I thought about it too. But yeah,
this
this
is
is
more along the lines of it's within your realm already, and you
it's
just
with
delay it to
you.
the point where it expires. It's like the best buy date is gone. I mean, it's like your best buy date's expired. I'm totally guilty of this. I mean, I've opened up that bottle of wine that I was saving, and it's nothing. It's just like,
So that
four.
happened to you.
Yeah. Oh, that happened to me. My going to Sephora, waiting and waiting and wait. No, I don't want to go. I don't want to do the traffic. And finally, they open up a Sephora near you, and they're like, "When did you get this? We haven't done this in like years. It doesn't. We can't help you." So you're like, "I waited too long. The best buy date's expired." You know.
So when are we gonna know if it's time or not yet time? Because it's very confusing. Like, when I pray and then, like, is it is the answer wait, or is the answer green light? Is it yellow or orange light, or green light?
I would
Or
say if you hit a yellow light, it's time to go green.
what do you mean? It's still yellow.
Yeah, if it's yellow, I mean, if it's not red, right? If it's not red, like if you buy a very expensive bottle of wine that shouldn't be open for 10 years and you tried to drink it today, you're going to be disappointed. You're going to be
I
very
know,
disappointed.
right?
But if you wait
Oh,
5 years, maybe this is the right time. 5 years is about right, right? Or the classic example for me in the past was, you know what? I am going to fit into that pair of pants or that article of clothing. I am going to fit, and 10 years later, it's still there. And you're like, you know what? The best buy date's gone on this. It's not going to happen, right? It's just not going to happen. Or you put off wearing that favorite shirt from Myrtle Beach or wherever you were at. And you're like, I might as well wear this thing. This thing it's going to fade. It's going to fade anyway, even if I wear it. So I might as well enjoy it, right? And that gets back to the enjoyment part. Are you enjoying the things that you've already got? And that's not about buying new things. It's about things that you're already doing. So, yeah.
yeah. I mean, because I think this is all about um gratitude of what you have right now.
Yeah.
Because most of the time we tend to ask for more and we don't appreciate what's in front of us, and we're missing moments, we're missing memories
Yeah.
because we are not present with or yeah, with the blessings that we have in
Yeah,
front of us.
yeah. So maybe a little bit of gratitude mixed in there. Definitely.
That's right.
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. So what else can you share about this?
Um, the only other thing I could share would be ideas. And the law of attraction, which states that the energy and the vibration and the intensity that you put out to the world is what's reflected back to you. If you're a mean, curmudgeon, bad mood type of person and you walk around like that, that's the kind of thing those are the kind of people you're going to attract into your life. If you walk around with a great attitude and looking on the bright side of everything, that's what you're going to attract, right? So ideas, basically, I think that ideas are the currency of manifestation, in that your subconscious mind doesn't know whether your idea is good or bad or indifferent. If you set a real lofty goal and you close your eyes and imagine like what it's going to be like when you have that, your subconscious mind doesn't know. It doesn't know the difference between reality and what's not real. So go ahead and have those ideas and use your imagination to bring those ideas to the forefront of your mind, and never be afraid of having big ideas, because even if you fall a little bit short, you're still going to wind up with a great product. I mean, I'm sure you've all seen, your audience has all seen that picture of Jeff Bezos at a desk, with nothing on it and just a
Mm.
banner that says Amazon, and
Mm.
like, I'm going to conquer the world. And you look at that picture and you're like, no way, buddy, that ain't going to be happening. But he had closed his eyes and had the vision for what that was going to become, and look where they are today. You know, it all
I
starts
think
with
yeah.
that
Go
idea.
ahead. Yeah, I think all the visionaries are like that. That's how they think, isn't it?
Yep, it is. They think big and they imagine what it's going to be like, and they let their reality match their imagination. So, and the perfect example of that is Musk, right? He wants to go colonize Mars. Well, that's way, way out there, but still he's got that vision, right? He's a little bit frenetic in how he goes about doing his thing, but he's got the huge visions, you know?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they have to risk big.
Yeah, there's a million stories like
A
that. I mean, you
million
can
of
you can go
stories.
online and find lots of people like Sarah Blakely with Spanx, right?
Yes, yes. I was just listening to her interview, I think just last week. I was amazed, like with $5,000, how it became $1 billion
Yeah,
of
yeah.
a
Who
business.
would have thought? You take an old pair of pantyhose, you cut it off, and suddenly you got a $1 billion company,
Yeah,
right? I mean, those are the kind of things that just kind of organically happen, right? And unless you're willing to have that idea and really think about it and try it. And the other thing that goes along with the ideas are the speed aspect, because the universe gave you that idea for a reason, right? And it's not just you that's getting that idea. I'm sure that there are 100 women out there who saw that product, who said, you know what, I had the same darn idea that Sarah did, but I didn't get the scissor out to cut the pantyhose off. Or I had the same idea for an electric battery vehicle, but I really didn't do anything about it. So the
true.
universe the universe has not just given that idea to Sarah. He gave the universe, he, she, we, it, gave that idea to like 100 people. Who was the one who took the first step? Who's the one that got the scissor out? Who's the one that went to AutoZone and bought a bunch of batteries and hooked them together and saw what it would do? That's the person who takes the first step, right? So money loves speed. That's one of the things that I learned. When you figure something out, the speedier you are, the better off you are. And I had a friend that used to believe that all the time. Like, I told him, I've got this idea about, he went, shh, shh, don't even say it. Write it down here for me. And I said, Nico, you're crazy. Why are we doing this? No one else is going to have this idea. And that was his belief all along, was that when you speak that idea, it just goes out into the universe, and all the other people in the world are going to have your idea. And to some degree, there's some truth to that. We're all creative human beings. We're all thinking of things, and who knows how things work like that. But the Sarah Blakely example is the perfect one that I could think of, and the Amazon one. And there's a lot more of them out there. But money loves speed. The universe loves execution, first to execute. Um, the universe would not have put those ideas out there if they were not meant to be. That's my own personal belief. And whoever does them first, whoever gets there first, well, whoever gets there first. That's the idea.
That's right. I also believe that this all go back to the training of the mind. Because if you don't train your mind to believe and grow and to explore new things and to
Right.
just focus on your goals, because we are so scattered, right? That's why it's Sarah Blakely, because Sarah Blakely was when and the story was like when she was in high school, her dad before the divorce, or was it after the divorce when his dad left his mom, he gave this tape to her and she was listening to that tape, the tape for personal growth. I forgot the coach for the or the trainer of that tape, but yeah, she was already listening to it in yeah since she was in high school, and then yeah,
Yeah.
it was not like an all of a sudden experience, like you have the idea and then you put it out there. Because yeah, I think like yeah, I think we still go back to the human paradox,
Yep.
like it's our decision, and we couldn't make such decision if we don't have self-awareness.
Yep. So here's the challenge for your audience.
Yeah.
Take that one big idea that you've got, right? And every day for the next 10 days, I'm not even asking you to do 20. I'm not asking you to do 30. I'm just asking you to do 10 days and do 10 minutes of just concentrating and meditating on that idea, and come up with one step at the end of day 10 that you can take. One step. It could be Googling something, it could be making a prototype out of cardboard. You pick what it is that you want to do as that first step. And once you take that first step, the universe will reveal the next step in due time. You'll be amazed at what you'll come up with. 10 days, 10 minutes, one idea, one action you're going to take, and see what happens. What's the worst thing that could happen? At the end of day 10, the worst thing that could happen is, you know what, that was a lousy idea. I don't want to do it anyway. The best thing that could happen would be, I know exactly what I need to do. I know exactly the first step. I'll go ahead and take it. It's not going to cost me any money to take a first step. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not asking you to go out and get a venture capitalist to fund an idea, although they do that all the time. If you look with AI, I mean, they're funding, billions of dollars worth of stuff. These guys have written this stuff down on a paper napkin, and they're getting money. They're getting money. Why can't you come up with one idea that doesn't cost any money to fund that you can do yourself? There's lots of projects you can do yourself. So
Yeah.
that's a good challenge.
Thank you so much, Mark. It's like I don't know, I haven't posted this in Instagram, but I posted this earlier in my Facebook account. I'm a Christian, right? So I share these things. I do believe in serving all the time. So it says here in First Peter 4:10, each of you should use whatever gift you have received to serve others as faithful stewards of God's grace in its various forms. And I do believe that this is connected with what you're saying right now. When we serve, when we when we become selfless instead of just being selfish, when we think of others first before we think about ourselves, when we think about serving others before serving ourselves, then yeah, God will bless us, and he will be honored and glorified because
Yep.
he gave us this gift that should be putting that we should put out there. So yeah, very related to this topic today, and I'm
Yeah.
so glad we talk about. Actually, you're not just talking to my audience; you're talking to me. Like right now, I
You know,
feel like,
there's another part of the paradox. I think I told you before that I was in Jesuit school, right? I went
yeah.
to Jesuit high school. In sophomore year, I had a theology teacher, Mr. Cooper. He was a young, brash, hippie kind of guy. The Jesuits were very liberal. The Jesuits were very with it, and he was always on the cutting edge of talking about the Bible in terms of things that we could understand as kids. Being a sophomore in high school, I still think you're a kid looking back on it now. And he talked about the parable where Jesus fed the crowd of 5,000 with two fishes and seven loaves. And
Yeah.
he said, guys, he goes, I think, because it was an all guys school, we were all guys.
Mhm.
Guys, he said, here's what I think happened. He goes, to put it in my terms, he goes, they got together. Yeah, there was 5,000 people. There could have been 10,000. Nobody really knows. He goes,
Mm.
and everybody knew they were going somewhere, and they probably all brought a bunch of food with them. And some guy had some fish and some loaves, and Jesus said, "Sit down, and let's talk and let's do this. And you've got some extra fish, and you've got some extra loaves, and you've got some extra cheese, whatever they had." And everybody started sharing, and before you knew it, all 10,000 people were done eating. 5,000 people, whatever it was, and there was leftovers, and he told the disciples to go around and gather all the leftover stuff. So his thought, Father Cooper's thought, at the
Mhm.
time he was Mr. Cooper, but now he was Father Cooper. He said
Uh-huh.
the thing was, the miracle was is that Jesus got everybody together and caused them to go outside themselves and think about other people. And they weren't so selfish that they wanted to hoard all the food for themselves. They shared all their food. There was more than enough to go around. That was the real miracle in his eyes. So
Oh,
that's what Mr. Cooper thought, the Jesuit liberal guy.
so yeah, so he was thinking that because one person stepped up, one boy stepped up,
Yeah,
then everybody was encouraged
that's
to
right.
go give.
And the real miracle at the end of the day was the people were talking about, gosh, we had this crowd of 10,000 people and everybody ate and everybody was happy. The miracle was is that he got everybody to go outside their comfort zone,
Comfort
talk to
zone.
people, share the food. That was the real miracle. And it's recorded that there was a miracle that happened. Could it have happened? It very well could have happened. None of us were there. There's
Mhm.
multiple accounts of it, so we know something definitely did happen. But the miracle could have been in different forms, right? And that was his
Yeah.
version of the miracle.
Yeah.
That's another part of the paradox: sharing versus hoarding for
Hoarding.
yourself, taking care of your neighbor. It, it was a very logical explanation for us kids at the time. So anyway, that was another thing I wanted to talk to you about. That was kind of the
Go
last
ahead.
thing.
Yeah, I mean, this life, like, like, yeah, I'm just gonna share this. When I was thinking about human paradox, like digging deeper on it, because like we're gonna talk about it. What are my thoughts on it? It's more likely on, sometimes I question myself if, am I following my will, myself, or am I following Jesus? Am I doing this for myself or am I doing this for others? Because human as we are, we always want to have the credit. And yeah, we always want to have the credit. And well, there's nothing wrong about it.
No, there's
Yeah,
nothing wrong.
there's nothing
There's no
wrong.
reason to keep the receipts. There's no reason to keep the receipts. If you're going to do good, you're going to do good, right? And in
Yeah.
my case, no one was around to see me doing anything good. I mean, I just did good because I thought, well, this is kind of the right thing to do, and I'm just going to go ahead and do it, right?
Yeah,
Um,
that's right. So yeah, I have an example of this, okay? Um and so it was our MR's birthday, the secretary, medical secretary. And then it was her 60th birthday. And then and then I was so guilty because she worked, and then um we're kind of like cranky to her, and we didn't realize it was her birthday. And we didn't have anything for her. And we huddled, and then we didn't mention her because we didn't know it was her birthday. And so I felt so guilty. And because she was finally wept and said, "You guys, you didn't even realize it's my birthday today, but I'm here working. It's my 60th birthday." And I felt so guilty. And so I texted a friend because she was working the following shift. Yeah, so I told her, like, can you buy her flowers? I'll just pay you money. Because it's her birthday, nobody knew. And yeah, yeah, we just, I just want to honor her. And I was guilty too. So she came, and then brought the flower, and then sent me the picture. And then I said, okay, like, so that's great, because I saw she was so happy with the flower. And then when I came back to the unit, the MR told me that, oh, you know what, this person give me the flower. So
So
like,
she didn't know.
okay, she didn't know it was. But then I don't have to tell her. I don't have to. And I know in my yeah, I know in yeah, I- my intention was really good. And but just not being in the picture, it's okay, because I know what I did, and she didn't have to know that either.
Yeah. Well, that was very nice of you.
But
Yeah.
yeah, it's okay. I mean, like, then I get to understand people. So, but then, like, it's okay, because that's human nature,
Yeah.
the human paradox. And yeah, I love this person. I love them both. And I don't have to be resentful.
I can tell you a real interesting unit story if you want to hear it.
Yeah, go ahead.
So one night I got to work, and there was security was all over the place and everything. It was really horrible. And I found out that one of the executives of Disney was in the unit, and that
Mm.
one of the vice presidents had landed the corporate helicopter on the helipad without permission, and
Oh.
was and took up the helicopter space for where there normally would be room for a trauma helicopter. So this Disney executive came in, saw this patient, and then left. And then they made him take the helicopter and leave because he didn't even get permission. He just landed a helicopter on the trauma pad. So I was like, boy, that takes a lot of guts to do something like that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
That's
Wow.
one story. The another story I've got is I was watching the 5 o'clock news. I don't go to work till 7 o'clock, right? Back in those
Mhm.
days, I worked 7 to 10 at night. So I'm watching the news. There's a big shootout in LA. It was a bank robbery, and the FBI was involved. And I was like, oh boy, that poor guy. That poor guy, there's no way that poor guy could have lived. So a couple hours later, show up to ICU, and police and black cars all over the place. I'm like, what in the world is going on here? Walk into the unit, and the charge nurse says, you want to stay away from room 5, because
Oh.
that's the person that was the bank robber today.
Oh.
And he was shot like 7 times, and the FBI was in there, all this stuff. So I was like, well, that's not good. Not good at all. There's a case where you see something on TV, you show up to the unit, and the guy you said, I don't know if he's going to make it or not. Sure enough, he's in room 5, and they're like, I
Oh.
don't know if he's going to make it.
Wow.
So they were huddled around there. I went about my job. 10 o'clock came. I left. They were all still there. Next week, I show up, and Sherwood says, go in and look on bed 2. I go in and look on bed 2. There's this guy handcuffed to the bed, and he's watching ESPN. And I come back and I look at Sherwood and I go, what's the story with this guy? You know, he goes, that was the bank robber that was in bed 5. He did just fine. he's sitting up in bed, he's, eating dinner, watching ESPN. He's handcuffed to the bed, made a full recovery. And of course, he goes on to get tried and convicted and whatever else. Talk about a
Yeah.
paradox. You see a guy getting shot on TV like 7
Yeah.
times. You show up, he's not supposed to make it. You show up the next week, he's in bed watching TV, eating dinner. Sherwood
Wow.
like Sherwood's like, man, some people have all the luck. This guy should not have made it at all. And then other stories in the unit,
Absolutely.
you show up and someone dies of a hangnail,
Yeah.
um, infected. And here's the guy that's shot 7 times. He's totally okay. So how do you explain that? How does your mind wrap around that? It was a very heady time to see all these stories and have them play out in real life. Kind of makes you appreciate what you've got,
What you have.
getting back to gratitude. So, yeah.
That's right. And I think knowing your values is also, and is very important, and be in alignment with it so that there's no conflict with what you do
Yeah.
and what you believe. Because once it's not, I think, and I've experienced it, like, I want to spend more time with my family and have fun with them, and yet I'm always working. It doesn't feel good when the values and the things that you do not align. It doesn't feel good. We always know that.
Yeah. Yeah, a
It's
lot of
always
stress.
like a red flag.
Yeah, a lot of stress, a lot of conflict, and you're in the wrong profession for low stress, low conflict, low. That's just the nurse's life.
That's just the nurse's life. That's right. So we get used to it. But yeah, I think being a nurse is a profession, like it's more than an advocacy
Oh
rather
yeah,
than a job, because it takes a lot of patience. Yeah, takes a
yeah,
lot of kindness, compassion, and yeah, just dealing with your coworkers is no longer easy. They all have different personalities, and you get into the patient's room, and the patient is in their or his or her weakest moment and very vulnerable, and you don't know what you're getting into,
that's right.
really. Right?
Yep.
So it's more the calling, advocacy, and yeah, I don't really think it's more on money, because if you just take a look at it, you won't stay in that job if everything you think is just nursing. I'll go take nursing so I earn bigger dollars.
Right. Yeah. No. No. You won't last. You
You
won't
won't.
last.
Or you will be very unhealthy and
You
very
won't be
stressed.
very. Yeah. You'll do a lot of stress eating, which is what I
Stressed.
learned about when I worked in the ICU. There were many nurses who were very unhealthy, and that was how they relieved their stress. They were eating, overeating. So
Yeah, that's really true.
yeah.
Like when I feel sad, like one time I posted a photo on my stories. Like I had I shared in my Facebook and Instagram that I have this friend who is diagnosed with a brain tumor, and she's in a bad shape, and that made me so worried about her that I had to buy chocolate cake, and he didn't even enjoy it. But then some things like stress eating is
Stress eating.
also killing us. So as much as possible, like, yeah, in this profession, I do believe that having or setting clear intentions every day, and just, yeah, I do priming every day, like when I go to work, like exercise, and then I do my devotional, do my reading and prayers and all that stuff, because if I don't do that, I will be messed up when I go out there.
Yep. Yep. No, that's a good way to like kind of inoculate yourself against um, the bad things that can happen to your mind. Let's put it that way. So
Yeah.
that's good. You found a way to deal with it, and that's important.
How
I mean,
about you?
we've all got our coping mechanisms. I mean, you've got your running and your bicycling and all that, and I do some of that as well. I do a lot of work outside and gardening and taking care of stuff around the house. So if I didn't do that, I'd probably go crazy.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's amazing because like awareness, clarity is, yeah, that's where it goes down.
Yeah.
So yeah, you shared earlier that you just manage your blood sugar, and that's really amazing. Yeah, you do
Blood
it
sugar is a
intentionally.
real,
Uh,
very important problem in this country. I don't think people realize, the naturopath that I visit told me that probably 8 out of 10 people have their blood sugar is totally out of control. They have no idea. I mean, they're eating donuts and cake and cookies and all the wrong things they should be eating, and they find out by accident. I mean, they just find out by accident if they're not monitoring it, and they get their annual blood work and it comes back horrible. That's when they find out.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
So,
that's very sad.
yeah.
So because we are busy, right? We
We're
yeah, there's a
busy.
lot of
Too
things
busy
to
to take
do.
care of ourselves,
We're
which
busy to take care of ourselves, right?
yeah, too busy to take care of ourselves. Too busy to make that salad. It's easier to grab a burger than it is to eat the salad, to make a salad or cook something healthier. Yeah, I mean, it's a society we live in. It's not my grandmother's society. And I think we talked about this earlier. Today,
Yeah.
my mom reminded me that today would have been my grandmother's 126th birthday, right?
Wow.
My 100-year-old mother is telling me that her mother would have been 126 today. And I'm like, wow, that's a lot
How
of
about she
years, Mom.
remember?
Yeah, my mom is on the ball. So, and then her biggest worry, her biggest question is, how did my mom know to buy me flowers for my graduation from high school and to buy me a watch? My mom couldn't speak English. She could barely read. How did my mom know how to do all that stuff? How did she know how to take the bus? And I'm like, well, she probably had friends that they all got together, they all talked, and that's how things were done back then. There were no cell phones. There was barely a phone on the wall back then. So looking back over the ages, you have people with longevity and long lives that ate natural food. They ate bacon and eggs and sausage and all the theoretical things that are bad today, but they lived to 100. They're living to 100 today. So something must have been right. That either the DNA was right, or the lifestyle was right, or the stress level was correct, because all that stuff will kill you if it's not right.
That's right. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, great job for your mom. Like,
Yeah.
how is she?
She's doing good. She's going to be 100 June 8th. So that'll be her birthday. And we'll see how things go. But knock on wood, everything is fine. She still lives by herself, doesn't want to live with me, has her own apartment, does her own cooking, does her own cleaning. Yeah, she uses a walker. Yeah, she in the best of health? Not really, but she gets along, and that's the way she wants to live her life. And not for me to tell her what to do. I could, but I won't. So
No, not
yeah,
exactly, not really.
yeah.
Yeah, they could be stubborn. Yeah, like, well, I
Well,
know
my dad
better.
lived till 97. So she's already 100. So DNA on the mom side of the family runs very longevity DNA. So
So you have a good DNA, Mark.
got a good
You live
DNA.
long.
Just got to take care of yourself. Do the minimum. Take care of yourself. You'll live a long life.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah.
But if you're a rabble rouser and doing drugs and drinking alcohol and eating the wrong food and doing all the wrong things, you're not going to live a long life. That's pretty much for certain.
I think that's common sense too.
You'd think. You'd think. I mean, I saw something today where a manufacturer of drinks is putting marijuana substance into drinks like colas, and I'm
Oh,
thinking THC in cola. I mean, it won't be long before you're going to need an ID to buy, what looks like a
oh,
cola. So I'm like, what a horrible idea that is for kids, to put THC into a drink.
no way.
Um, yeah, yeah, but that's what's going on. We've created a society that lives on this, Red Bull, hyped up, caffeine generated, what's the next thing, marijuana drinks. I mean, who would have ever thought
Oh
gummy
no.
bears is marijuana? It's like there are things going on out there that are just like totally weird, but there's a market for it. And if there wasn't a market, it wouldn't exist. So
Oh yeah.
it's not for me, but it's definitely for somebody. So
Yeah, exactly. There's a market for it.
yeah,
And with all of the what we're seeing in the media
yeah,
and social media, for sure.
yeah. Social media. Everyone's life on Instagram is perfect. By the way, I don't know if you saw that. Um, Everyone's beautiful. Everyone looks perfect. Ulta Beauty, their stock's at an all-time high. Um, Everything is perfect on Instagram, but I tell you what, when you get off of that app, that's when the real crying and heartache and trauma and everything that you're going through, that's when it comes and hits you square between the eyes. So that's the culture that we live in. Everything's got to be perfect on camera, but really it's not that perfect.
It's
So
not. And it's crazy because, like you see things in Instagram or whatever social media platform, and they seem perfect. She or he seem perfect, and then you're pressured, and you have the tendency to compare your life to what you
yeah,
see online to your life, that your
yeah,
reality, and then like, what's wrong with me? And then I think that's where all the depression is coming from.
probably a lot of it, and that
A
gets
lot
back
of
to
it.
gratitude, right? What are you
Mm-hmm.
grateful for? What do you have that you're grateful for? Um, if you start there, then you're going to be in good shape because you can't come. Well, I think it was Teddy Roosevelt that said comparison is the thief of joy,
Yes.
right? So when you start comparing, you're taking the joy right out of, you're sucking the joy right out of your life. Are there
Yeah.
people that have more than you? Absolutely. Are
Mm-hmm.
there a whole lot of people that have a
Mm-hmm.
whole lot less than you do? You better believe it.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, life is not perfect. Never
No.
it's gonna be perfect. It's this is always a broken world with
Yeah.
broken people.
Yeah.
And yeah, exactly. Gratitude is the secret of joy, of peace,
Yeah.
of freedom, of love, and all the good values that we can have as a human being.
Yep. I agree. Totally agree.
Yeah, that's why they said, like, when you wake up in the morning, say just a little thank you prayer.
Yeah. The fact that you woke up is a blessing all in itself, right?
That's right, because there's a lot of people when you woke up, they're already 6 feet below the ground,
That's right.
or they
Mentally, and if
are
they're not physically below the ground, they're mentally below the ground.
mentally below the ground,
Yeah.
or they're fighting for their life.
Yeah. Yeah. So be grateful for what you got. That's good. That's a good vision to live by.
Yeah, so I just want to share this. Yeah, I work in the hospital. So, yeah, from time to time I would have problems and struggles and I would complain here and there. And then I get into a patient's room and I shut up
Yeah.
because my situation is far better
Yeah.
than what I'm seeing in front of me. And
Yeah.
yeah, so guilty. I become so guilty with, yeah.
I don't think
So
you should feel guilty. I just think you're feeling grateful. That's all.
I mean, I'm guilty for complaining,
Yeah.
and
Guilty for complaining. Yeah. The fact
yeah,
that I can't watch the Dodgers on TV. I mean, that's a very minor point in my life.
yeah,
The fact that I have a TV is great. I mean, I'm
I
happy. I'm happy for that,
know,
right?
I know. And I just want to say I'm so grateful for our friendship, Mark. Yeah, I didn't mention this, but I think we've been following each Mark and I have been following each other in Instagram. We just met in Instagram. You followed me first, right? I
I
don't
think
know. I
so.
keep yeah, because like
Yeah.
I'm all over the place.
Yeah. I think you commented on a couple of things that I did, and then I followed you, and then we found out that we both worked in an ICU unit at some point in time, and then from there, it just sort of commented on your
Yeah.
stories and life in general, and smiley faces and all that good stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy when, there are bad things that could happen in social media, but really all of my connections that are, yeah, that I think, I mean, I see more people in the social media or follow more people in the social media that are, more matured than I am. That I can gain more knowledge, that I can follow, that I can, yeah. And so I'm grateful for that. Yeah, that part of social media, I'm so grateful because without it, without Instagram, I wouldn't have met you.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, or a lot of other great people too. There's a lot of great people out
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So, but then if we only use social media the right way, then there are a lot of benefits of it.
definitely. Yeah, that's the way I feel.
That's still a
Use it
human
for
paradox.
use it for the good stuff it can give you, and ignore all the bad stuff that's out there.
That's right. Yeah, because there are a lot of dramas, there are a lot of lies too. So we always have to dissect and pray for
Yeah.
discernment in what we see, and yeah, what we see exactly in the social media.
And
I
I tell
posted.
you what,
Yeah. Go
Jenith,
ahead.
now with AI, it's going to be extremely difficult because
Why?
people are making pictures of people. People are cloning your voice. People are cloning your image. They can have you saying things that you really don't say. um, you have to look at what's on there with a like you say, an eye of discernment, because the powerfulness of AI is incredible. I mean, I've seen people's voices and images be cloned, and I know that's not really them, but they're talking and they sound like that person, right?
Wow.
So AI is a blessing in some cases, and you have to really watch out for it.
Yeah. Would it scare me?
Yeah, it would scare you, because I tell you what, now that we're going into an election, you're going to see things where you think one candidate is saying something, and it's really an AI clone with an AI cloned voice. They've trained an AI bot to sound just like this candidate, and it's not really the candidate never really said those things, and it's not really his image.
Oh,
Yeah,
I don't like
that's
that.
that's why this whole thing with Facebook and Meta and all the talk about AI in these platforms is so critical, because you have to take everything with a grain of salt that you see and really investigate it.
Oh, wow. I don't
Yeah,
like that.
I
Yeah.
don't like it either, but that's the world that we're living in now. So you just got to be careful.
I should live in the cave then. Bye, Mark. Bye.
Yeah, fight or flight. You know, it's
Yeah, that's sad. That's
just be
sad.
careful with AI. Take things with a grain of salt. Don't take everything as gospel. Do your investigation. Do your homework. Um, Chances are people are going to be posting things that really aren't true. The images aren't true; they're faked. Look what they did. Look what they did with Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. They had Taylor Swift coming out of an airplane wearing a T-shirt that had a political message on it, and Travis Kelce standing right alongside of her. And then next to it, they post the real picture. Well, they had modified the picture to put something on the T-shirt that was never there, right? Caused
Ooh.
all kinds of trouble. It's like, well, gosh, guys, this is the AI that's supposed to be so great. You know, you can modify any image to be whatever you want. So be careful. You just got to be careful.
Wow, thank you for the heads up. Like I didn't see this photo or
Yeah,
video.
I
I
think
didn't.
she was exiting a plane, her private plane, and I think it said something about Trump, and it turns out that that was never really on the shirt. So it got
Oh.
all kinds of publicity, and it really wasn't true. It's like people can doctor photos, and then they posted the real photo later. Well, the damage had already been done, right? It's like,
Yeah. And
so
people can believe easily, you know?
people, there are a lot of sheep out there. I mean, they're going to believe what they see, right? They're not going to do their
Yeah.
homework.
Mm-mm.
So
Mm-mm.
you got to
You
be
know, we're
careful.
too busy. Yeah. But that's really sad. Is that photo or video still available online?
I think you could search it out. You could probably
Okay.
search it out and find it. It was on Yahoo News. I mean, Yahoo News covered it, and they had both pictures. That's the only reason why I saw it. Um,
Mm.
but yeah,
Yeah, I'll take a look at it. But
yeah.
yeah, wow, this is such an amazing conversation with you, Mark. Oh, thank you so much.
Maybe we should continue to do technology talks.
Oh, yeah.
Here's what to look out for. Here's what's coming next. Here's what to
Yeah.
be careful of.
I mean,
Yeah.
what I love most about live streaming is, it's so authentic. Like, no editing, no, yeah, you just get out there, be yourself, and yeah, make some mistakes. Just saw raw. And
Yeah. Yeah. No, I think this has been really great.
yeah.
Thanks for inviting me, and I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. So, yeah, where can people find you and how can you serve them? Or how can they
Um,
support you in your projects?
well,
Or,
they can find me on LinkedIn at my name. I mean, that's where I
yeah,
do a lot of posting because I'm in business. Um, just my name, Marc Schissler. They can find me on LinkedIn, send me a connection request. I might even send you a free gift. You never know.
yay! So follow Mark at LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of followers there already. Yeah, you've
Yeah.
built your LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I'm so new to LinkedIn. I mean, I was old already. I mean, I've been doing that before, but I didn't focus. You're doing a great job on it.
I've been on LinkedIn since 2006. So long
See,
time.
long time, and
Yeah.
you're putting up good stuff there.
A lot of
Good.
business stuff, a lot of interesting
Yeah.
stuff. I make a lot of interesting comments, and
Yes, I saw that.
we'll see how it all shakes out. But I think it's a lot of fun. So
Yeah. And you have a business too, right? You have this
I have a
course.
business.
Can you share that?
Yeah, I have a business, Marcus Franklin and Associates. I've been incorporated in California since 1979, and just do a lot of management consulting, a lot of consulting in the Oracle space, which is the database company that is soon to be headquartered in Nashville, where
Woohoo!
you are. And they're going to be specializing a lot more in healthcare, but they're more into software that controls business processes like accounts payable, receivable, a lot of manufacturing, a lot of things like that. So on a day-to-day basis, that's what I'm doing. I'm selling those kind of consulting services.
Wow, that's big
Yeah,
time. You're amazing.
thank you.
Yes. Anything else you can say, or any parting words and words of
Um,
wisdom you can share to the
yeah,
viewers?
words of wisdom. I would just say never don't doubt yourself. Be all in on yourself, right? Always give yourself the benefit of the doubt. Always give yourself the benefit of the doubt. Never think an idea that you've got is crazy. Always take a first step. At least investigate it. You could be the next Jeff Bezos. Nobody knows. Even you don't know.
Yeah.
So take the risk. Risk taking is okay if it's safe, right? We're not asking you to do anything crazy. Just if you come up with a great idea, take a step, write a blog about it, do a post, start an Instagram account, gather information, make a sample, make a prototype, search it out on Google. There's things that have already been done that you might be able to capitalize on. Um, I talked to another friend that wanted to start a cosmetic line. And I said to her, do you realize there's a company that already produces white label cosmetics that you can just slap a label on and they're yours? You can get all the ingredients and get all their product sheets and put your own label on it, build your own brand. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. The
True.
wheel's already out there. All you got to do is find the wheel and take advantage of it. So, just advice like that. Just explore things to the nth degree. Don't sit back, just explore. And gosh, if I had Google in 1970, I'd be a billionaire. It didn't exist. We barely had landlines. There were no answering machines either. How we ever got together on campus is still a mystery to me. How
Yeah.
we ever figured out where to go and how we were all going to meet. All we had was a bulletin board in the dorm. That was it. That was all we had. That was our social media. So yeah, you guys got it real easy.
Oh, it's okay. It's not yet too late for you because you're gonna live
No,
more than 100.
I
Okay,
I know,
you have
I
good
know.
genes.
But that's the advice that I would have. Just take advantage of everything at your disposal. Don't let a stone go unturned.
This is great, Mark, and that's a good call. You're calling me as well. Like I hope people will take advantage of that call.
Yeah, and if they want to get in touch with me, have them get in touch with me on LinkedIn. Any help I can give you business wise, I'm happy to do it free of charge. There's a lot of people that gave me advice free of charge, so I have no problem doing it at all.
Oh, look at you! You're so kind. God bless you more.
Yeah,
I pray for good health, for vitality.
yeah,
Yeah, you're
definitely.
so good.
You can't
Thank
do
you.
anything if you don't got your health. So that's the first
Yeah,
priority.
vitality.
Yep.
All right, Mark. Thank you so much. And for everyone, please follow or connect to Mark in Lincoln. You can send him a message, follow him. Anything, business advice, he said.
Yeah.
Yeah, he won't charge you anything. So, like just what he said, bet on yourself. Bet
Bet
on
on
yourself.
there's a couple of books on that on Amazon. I think one of them is called Bet on Yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So not a bad read. Not a bad read,
Yeah,
not a bad concept.
yeah. We all can start there. Nobody can really bet on us, like, or if you don't bet, if I don't bet on myself, nobody will bet on me.
That's right.
So what are we
Be
gonna
your own
do?
be your own cheerleader.
Oh yes, be your own cheerleader because nobody will.
That's right.
And yeah, each of us is our own set of gifts that are meant to go out there. We need to share it to the world, otherwise we won't be done.
That's right. All
All
right.
right,
So
thank
have a great
you.
rest of the week, and I'll see you around Instagram.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you
Okay.
so much. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.
Thank you.